Hey guys, if you're new here, welcome, and if you have come here before, welcome back. This is the last week of February, which means it's time for another Write With Me, and I'm super excited to share what I've been working on with you. I know before I've talked about the culture, I've talked about the geography, a little bit of the magic system, but this week I'm diving deeper into the magic system and how I developed that. So it is going to be a lot of fun. So the first thing, I believe I mentioned this before, but my magic system first started out as mind bending, and I actually got this idea from The Lord of the Rings. This is my copy of The Return of the King. I think it's beautiful. And there's this one instance where Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, and Merry are riding with some other people through Rohan to get to this other place to help out in the war. And they are overtaken by pursuers. And after some conversation, Aragorn realizes it's his kindred from another, he says, from a far land where I dwelt. So I'll read you guys a little bit and then another section right after that. So this is The Return of the King. All is well, said Aragorn, turning back. Here are some of my own kin from the far land where I dwelt. But why they come, and how many they be, Halbarad shall tell us. I have 30 with me, said Halbarad. This is all of our kindred that could be gathered in haste. But the brethren of Eldalan and Elro here have ridden with us, desiring to go to the war. We rode as swiftly as we might when your summons came. But I did not summon you, said Aragorn, save only in wish. My thoughts have often turned to you, and seldom more than tonight, yet I have sent no word. But come, all such matters must wait. You find us riding in haste and danger. And then the next morning, Merry, Gimli, and Legolas are talking amongst themselves about the newcomers. And this is Merry talking. Why have they come? Have you heard? Asked Merry. They answered a summons, as you heard, said Gimli. Word came to Rivendell, they say. Aragorn has need of his kindred. Let the Dunedain ride to him in Rohan. But whence this message came, they are now in doubt. Gandalf sent it, I would guess. Nay, Galadriel, said Legolas. Did she not speak through Gandalf of the ride of the Grey Company from the north? Yes, you have it, said Gimli, the Lady of the Wood. She read many hearts and desires. Now, why did we not wish for some of our own kinsfolk, Legolas? And I don't know if you caught the phrases that caught my attention and got me thinking about mind bending, but I'll go back to the first part that I read when Aragorn says that he did not summon his kindred save only in wish. His thoughts had often turned to them, yet he did not send any word. And then it said Galadriel had read many hearts and desires. And then Gimli says, now why did we not wish for some of our own kinsfolk? So that got me thinking, what if by bending your mind toward someone in particular, or in general, as in Aragorn's case, what if by doing that you could read their mind or almost teleport thoughts to them? Like talking to them, like mind to mind. That really got me thinking. It was very interesting. Now, this is not going to be, I don't want this confused with New Age ideas. I did not intend to make it sound like that. I do not support New Age whatsoever. It just happens to be similar in that kind of fashion. So, just to make that clear. So mind bending was very interesting to me, and I developed it until it had many, many levels, until you could teleport yourself to a place in mind. It was very fascinating. But the magic that my world is built on is natural magic. It is where certain creatures have a certain amount of magic inherent in them already, and that magic comes in the form of interaction with nature. So, interacting with water and ice and fire and wind and trees and plants, stuff like that. And some creatures have more of it, some creatures do not have it, such as the dwarves, the poor people, but I'll get back to the poor dwarves in a minute. So some of the creatures have a lot naturally, like the dryads and naiads. They are essentially the embodied form of water and plants, and so they have the most. And this natural magic can be learned through spells and whatnot by people who don't have it, but this is generally looked down upon greatly by those who have it naturally, because the people who practice learned magic don't have it in themselves, and so it's fake, and it is deceptive in the fact that they are pretending to be something that they're not, essentially. And learning the magic, using learned magic, often ends up corrupting those people who learn it, because they eventually try to get as much power as they can, and it does not turn out well. Like this one saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. This world is no different. So, yeah, and the one exception with learned magic is gemstone magic. So the creatures who have natural magic don't look down upon the use of gemstones, because gemstones are natural, and by learning to harness their powers, anyone can learn how to enhance their own abilities or create new ones. The thought about gemstones first came from the dwarves when they were mining all these stones and rocks from the ground, and I remember writing this little note of saying dwarves can harness the power of stones, and I didn't really think much about it. And then looking back on it, I was like, I wonder what this would mean. And I developed this into something where specific stones, there are 9 colors, 6 of them control aspects of natural magic, like the blue ones control ice and water, and the was it? I actually have it over here. Orange is fire, and green is obviously plants. So to give you an idea, this is my scrappy stuff with all my notes pinned in there. Anywho, yeah, so the dwarves can harness those, any creature can harness those and use it to create their own abilities. But there are 3 colors, purple, white, and black, that have abilities that are not found in natural magic, and those are special. So while I was developing this, I was watching a lot of writing videos, how to write fantasy novels better, just in preparation for my portal fantasy. And I actually heard about some books that the authors used a stone-based magic system, such as, I think it's called Jade City, where by ingesting certain stones, maybe I'm confusing it with some other books, but the point is, this idea is not new. But once I learned that, I got to thinking, how could I make this my own idea? Make it, put a twist on it, make it unique. And I found that it was by taking these gems and applying it only the way my world could apply them to. So that was a lot of fun to consider and stuff. So I have 3 different ways of magic. I have mind bending, natural and learned, and the gemstone magic. These 3, if you just have these 3 separate ones in the book, it's not going to make much sense. One thing that I've really learned from my own experience and from other people's advice is you want everything to be connected somehow in your story, especially when it comes to world building. If you have these 3 little threads just like by themselves, it's going to be confusing, not coherent, and it's just going to be a jumbled mess. And so I thought, oh no, I have to figure out how to connect these, or just choose one single one to rule my world. But turned out the solution was very simple and very fun to come up with, actually. So the solution is natural magic is the base of my world, okay? And by the use of these gems with all these colors and whatnot, people can enhance their abilities, and each phase, well, both natural magic and gemstone magic can be developed and should be developed so that you get better and better and better at what you can do. And once you master the use of all 9 gems, you then get mind bending. And another way to get mind bending is if it's gifted by these supernatural beings called poets in my world. So mind bending is very, very rare. It's the most powerful, and even with mind bending, you can develop it even further. And so I really like how this connected all 3 ideas, and with each of them, there's room for so much growth. And that just gives me so many ideas as an author to come up with all these storylines, all these characters in different stages of life, different abilities, and how they can all come together to form the story in their own unique way. So I thought that was really interesting. And of course, with such a vast magic system, I need to figure out the ramifications of this. If there's something life-changing, let's say, well, let's use a real-life example. The internet. Once the internet was created and its use was popularized, we went from what people call snail mail to texting and being able to watch YouTube videos and do all these different things. So that made a huge impact on the world. Just this one thing of the internet, which led to one thing, which led to another, which led to another, which led to another. And so, since there's this magic system in my world, it has to affect life around it. So I got to thinking, okay, what could the stones be used for? And some of the ideas were just hilarious. I loved some of them. For example, the blue stones, if it's a light blue stone, people can embed them in their walls and make AC. I thought that was hilarious. And then also using the fire gemstone, you can heat their house. They can heat their house with it. So that was fun. Thinking through things like that. And the natural magic, people can use their abilities such as, my mind is blanking out. Anywho. But you get the point. With the natural magic, I actually thought of an instance here. Part of the natural magic is being able to understand birds. So you can communicate with birds and use them to communicate with other people. So instead of email or writing letters, they send a bird. So the phrase, "a little bird told me," is very literal in my world. I imagined the post office being this huge building with all these birds in it, and you just tell your message to one bird and it goes along, sends it. The bird returns with the answer. These things are a lot of fun to think about, and it's just endless. You can apply it to so many areas of life, to technology, to transportation, to daily life, like this education system, in fact, and all these different things that we take for granted for in our own lives. We get to think about them more, think through them, and adapt them to our worlds. And I just think that's really unique for fantasy, and I am loving it. So that's all for this time. I think this is the end of world building part. I'm still trying to decide whether or not I should keep working on it. I know as I write the book, I will get more ideas and stuff like that. So I know I'll talk about more world building then. But I believe next time I'm going to go through writing my premise and starting to plan out my book. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I apologize for getting this video out late. I had a really crazy week and I am recording this in the evening, and I usually do it more in the afternoon. So forgive me if I'm tripping over my tongue more than usual. And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts, and especially your favorite world building that you found in fantasy books. Like, for instance, I love Lord of the Rings so much. Oh, and here's another book, The Two Towers. I love the cover work on these. They're so pretty. And they were for a good price too. Yeah, so if you ever need ideas on your world, just read more fantasy. Read more fantasy, you'll get more ideas. That's what I've been doing. Or watch videos like this where people are sharing their ideas. Of course, do not steal their ideas. You can take different little pieces and say, wait, that would really work here, that would really work there. But don't take their idea, please. It is disrespectful to the artist, and it's not good. So, yes. So enjoy your world building process, and I will see you next time to talk about premises and organizing and how I plan to plot out my book. So I see you guys later. Bye.